Oh yeah, get me some Strokes. Such a fun song to play on Rock Band. Get us all fired up and jacked up to get into these adverb clauses. Yeah. Alright. So here we are. Grammar lecture time again, and it's adverb clauses. I'm going to keep the slide like this so I can actually show you, do kind of a highlight thing with this. Okay, adverb clauses. Well, they are a subordinate clause that functions as an adverb. Very simple definition, just like the noun clause, just like the adjective clause. And just like those two clauses, they have a bunch of marking words called subordinating conjunctions. We'll get there in just a second. But some examples of the adverb clause would be Kim looks as if she heard the good news, as if being the subordinating conjunction. And there we see the subject verb, she heard. Before we left, we turned off the lights. Wherever you go, you will find other tourists. And if we win, notice there are subject verbs on all of those. You have the subordinating conjunctions as if, before, wherever, and if. Those all mark adverb clauses. All right, an adverb clause is introduced by a subordinating conjunction. Now, there are a lot of these, a lot of them, whatever. There are many. A list of subordinating conjunctions can be found on page 97 of your book. If you want to copy that down, if you just want to use the online textbook, either way is good. Check them out. I don't know that you can memorize all of them because they're probably close to 20 or so, maybe even a little more. But just to be familiar with them is good. Run your eyes across the page a few times so you can tell the difference between them and the words that mark noun clauses and adjective clauses. Be very careful. Some subordinating conjunctions can look like prepositions. Okay, a couple common ones are since and before. You have to watch out. It's only a prepositional phrase if there is no subject and verb. It's a subordinating conjunction if it's followed shortly thereafter by a subject and a verb. And I gotta take that echoey thing off the back. That shadow. Ugh. All right. Now, Mr. Cool's grammar tip number 1. Whatever. That was a pretty quick shot of me. Put this down, put this down, put this down. This will help you immensely. When a sentence starts with an adverb clause, there must be a comma at the end of the clause. Use this tip to help you with identifying adverb clauses. That is a comma rule. Of the 5 or 6 like great comma rules, that's one of them. Introductory participle phrases and adverb clauses take a comma. So, you see an example before hurricane strikes. Hurricane strikes before subordinating conjunction. That's your adverb clause, and that comma can help you. Okay, doesn't mean every time you see a comma when something starts a sentence, it's going to be an adverb clause. But if it has a subject and a verb and you see that comma, it's always going to be an adverb clause. All right? All right, so some more examples on adverb clauses. If you want, before you start this, to go to page 97 and get a look at those subordinating conjunctions so you have a shot at these. These are very simplistic sentences, but this is a new concept, thus that's why they're simplistic. Naomi worked on the car while I painted the garage. While I painted the garage would be the adverb clause. I'm going to pop back out here so I can highlight these again. While I painted the garage. The car looked as if it really needed a polish. As if it really needed a polish. Wherever you looked, you saw rust on the chrome. Wherever you looked, dang it, I think you get the idea. Wherever you looked. And then finally, Naomi brought some rags so that she could wash the windows. Now remember, all of these things are clauses that behave like adverbs. Naomi worked on the car while I painted the garage. That kind of tells us when she was working on the car. The car looked as if it really needed a polish, so that's modifying looked as well, the as if it really needed a polish. Wherever you looked, you saw rust on the chrome, so that modifies saw, etc., etc. So it's going to do the things that an adverb does, this tricky little adverb clause. All right. Next. Naomi put the polish down where she could reach it easily. I'm going to pause here, see if you can think of it. Hopefully you got where she could reach it easily. When you want to do a good job, you should take your time. I hope you spotted that comma rule. When is a time word, so that always deals with adverbs. So from when to the comma is the adverb clause. After she polished the car, it sparkled in the sun. Once again, that comma rule is there. After is another one of those subordinating conjunctions that can look like a preposition, so be careful of it. She polished, that's our subject verb, that's how we know we have a clause. And finally, she vacuumed the upholstery because it was dusty. Because it was dusty is the adverb clause modifying vacuumed. If you had a look at that subordinating conjunction list and you did these, I bet you, because of the simplicity of these sentences, I bet you got the adverb clause. Even if you went and found the independent clause first and said, okay, what's left over, the adverb clause would be there. Okay, flagrant, conspicuously offensive, especially so obviously inconsistent with what is right or proper as to appear to be flouting of law or morality. A flagrant Miller photo op. Okay, I think Miller himself flouts law and authority. Yeah, so I just stuck that in there. Genius. Couple more. As soon as the job was finished, Dad gave her some money. What is the adverb clause? That's right, as soon as the job was finished. And you knew that either by two things. The comma rule, or you're getting to know your subordinating conjunctions, and as soon as jumped out at you. Finally, Naomi acted as though she were reluctant to accept it. What is the adverb clause? As though she were reluctant to accept it. With Naomi acted being the two-word independent clause. So there you have it. That is the lecture on adverb clauses. It's pretty simple. I'm going to throw up a couple more exercises for them, and then we're going to do a combined adverb adjective clause exercise, which is really nasty, and we'll start to test your mettle as we move further along into these clauses and head towards the quiz. Any questions? Tweet me. Otherwise, we're done. Should I go back out with a little of that? Oh, yeah, I think I should. Tell us a story. I know you're not boring.